Whoa, hey guys, welcome to YMS. Many of my videos are too spicy to be monetized on YouTube, so I have to censor them. If you wish to see these videos uncut, uncensored, and ad-free, please head to patreon.com/YMS for as little as $1 or click the join button below. Thank you. Hey everybody, I saw The Exorcist Believer. Now, I watched the first Exorcist film when I was a lot younger, and I don't remember much about it. I think that I would appreciate it more as an adult. It is very much ingrained in pop culture. I have no idea if I watched the second Exorcist movie, and I remember watching the third and enjoying it, and there's apparently 2 other Exorcist movies that I do not think I ever watched. The Exorcist Believer is the first of a new trilogy, I guess. The director, David Gordon Green, was supposed to direct all 3 of these films, but I think they are going to get someone else because this is receiving terrible reviews and underperformed at the box office. Universal paid $400 million for distribution rights already. I don't think they're gonna make that money back. It is kind of a boring disaster. Now, you might be wondering why they would put the director of Pineapple Express and Your Highness in charge of this massive horror IP, and it honestly just seems like they were trying to recreate the success of the Halloween reboot trilogy, which David Gordon Green also directed. Now, I only saw the first of the Halloween reboot trilogy. I gave it a 3 out of 10 and did not even consider watching the 2 sequels. But they made good money, all things considered, and I guess Blumhouse and Universal trusted him enough to just do it again with another horror movie originally from the 70s. But I guess what Blumhouse and Universal did not understand is that Halloween and The Exorcist are 2 wildly different properties. You can't just take a director who had financial success with reviving a slasher series and expect them to be able to handle what is essentially a supernatural horror drama. Like, sure, they're both horror films from the 70s, but they are not the same style at all. This director has no fucking clue what he's doing when it comes to tone and atmosphere, which is obviously a huge part of the original film. Throughout this film, it's honestly astonishing trying to figure out what it's even trying to do with its tone. For much of it, you're kind of just forced to assume that it's attempting to be haunting or foreboding, but most of it just comes off as boring. It is an excruciatingly slow-paced film, but unlike other slow-paced films that I love, there isn't really anything to absorb or let soak in or appreciate about what you're watching, so it's just a constant feeling of, come on, move things along, get over with it, what are you doing? I've seen this before, this is boring, what are you, come on, just move it! Occasionally they'll throw in a line that I guess is supposed to be creepy or foreboding.
My church is having a pancake lunch on Sunday. You can both come.
Some of us get a little freaked out when people start speaking in tongues.
Okay, if you didn't understand that, he said, some of us get a little freaked out when people start speaking in tongues, which is honestly really difficult to understand without subtitles. It seems like they mashed 2 different takes together and cut out a bunch of words in between each take. Like there were 2 sentences that weren't even supposed to be together, but they are.
Some of us get a little freaked out when people start speaking in tongues.
It's very poorly communicated, but it's there, and even once you realize what he's saying, it's really lame and doesn't actually matter and is just really stupid and boring. This film also has some absolutely atrocious editing choices.
You guys closer together. Everyone to get a little closer together.
Come on, honey.
Get you right in the front.
Hang you upside down.
Again, it's terribly communicated, but they're trying to be foreboding and scary with how this is edited right now. They're trying to suggest some sort of sinister thing is happening in the movie in general, I guess. Nothing has really happened by this point. It's 15 minutes through the film. Absolutely nothing has happened by this point in the movie. They're just dicking around, he's taking photographs, and something about it is scary, I guess, is the implication. Scary things are happening. It might not be here, but we're gonna remind you that maybe something scary will happen in this movie eventually.
I'm getting good stuff.
Where did that sound come from in the universe? I guess it was not diegetic. What is that supposed to be? What is the child a jump scare? Did the man get scared as he was taking the picture? If none of the characters are scared, why is it trying to imply that something scary is happening? Why did we get a child jump scare? Again, this is 15 minutes through the movie and absolutely nothing has happened by this point. 0 things have happened in this film by this point. If you watch it enough times, you can kind of tell what they're trying to do anything. They're just very bad at doing it. So the guy's daughter and another couple's daughter, they go missing. There's 2 daughters. They go missing. They're friends. They were doing some satanic things. I guess these characters don't know that. All they know is their daughter's missing.
The only thing that's ever mattered is protecting my kid. That's what you know about me.
Well, then where are they?
Where's my daughter? It's very fake, very phony, very obvious. The white Christian church guy is immediately blaming homeless people for their daughters missing.
What about that homeless camp out there?
Eventually, the 2 girls show up somewhere in a barn. They don't know how they got there, and some kid finds them.
Where are we?
It's very overdramatic, and again, you can kind of tell what they're trying to do here. You can tell what tone they are trying to express and what they're trying to make audiences maybe feel. They're just very bad at doing it. It's very cliched. It's very paint by numbers. It's nothing new. It's not doing it particularly well in any kind of way. The characters are all incredibly boring and lifeless, and there's no reason to care about anything that's happening because there are no likable characters. There's no relatable characters. And by this point in the film, it is 30 minutes through the runtime, and there was absolutely nothing worthy of note to mention at all between the other things that I mentioned. Literally, this is just a boring nothing movie where nothing happens. So the girls get to a hospital and they have amnesia. Wow, what a surprise. And it's 35 minutes through the movie, and so far everything that has happened could have taken place in the first 5 to 10 minutes in any kind of normal movie. Throughout the movie, it does a bunch of recycled scares from other movies, or at least popularized by other movies. Not saying that these other movies invented them, but it just reminds me too much of these other movies, and this does it worse. We've got the Insidious jump scare thing. And then we've got the lights out scare.
What'd you say?
Apparently our main character does not really care that his daughter is able to teleport. He does not consider it to be worthy of mentioning, worthy of note. He just kind of is not really paying attention to anything throughout the entire movie, actually. Earlier in the film, when he's looking for his daughter, he has a flashlight and he's looking over here and it's kind of wet and there's a snake and he goes, ah, and then falls and he's all wet, but then the snake just, he doesn't really care about it anymore after that point. He just kind of forgets. He's like a very dumb, unobservant character that doesn't really care about anything that's happening in the entire movie. He might be a metaphor for the audience, honestly. Maybe this is some sort of experimental meta commentary film. Things are happening and it doesn't really seem to be affecting him in any particular way. There's a lot of shots in this movie where it just shows his face as if he's contemplating something, as if he's supposed to be thinking or feeling anything, but it just does not really come across properly. It is not really communicated properly. He's just kind of there. He's really confused about things, I guess. Doesn't really feel like he has any sort of stakes in anything, even though it is his daughter and he should be caring about things pretty explicitly, but it never really comes across as though he does. So meanwhile, the other girl is being very rude in church. She's yelling, she's having a tantrum, and that means she's possessed. It's a devil thing is happening here. It's always kind of amusing to me that these films are told explicitly through the perspective of Christians, because it is a Satan religious horror movie thing. I think it would be funny if the plot of one of these movies happened to people from a different religion. Like some Hindu family's daughter gets possessed by the Christian version of Satan, and it's like, oh, you're going to hell, your mother's going to hell, and I'm saying swear words and I'm having a tantrum. Would they just go, oh, I guess we were following the incorrect religion. There's supernatural things happening here that are clearly just based on this other one that we were unlucky to have been raised in. I guess that's the one we should do. I guess we gotta get a Christian exorcism to deal with this one.
The body in the blood. The body in the blood. The body in the blood. The body in the blood.
Catherine!
Oh no, she's having a tantrum, and it's very scary because this is in God's house, and God is supposed to be able to protect us from this kind of Satan tantrum treachery. So they decide that both girls are possessed by something satanic, and at about 53 minutes through the film, I wrote down a note in all caps saying, holy fuck, this is so boring. Who cares about any of this? Just show some horror possession shit.
You asked me if I've ever seen anything like this before? No. But there are people out there who have.
It is a myth. I learned the Lord's Prayer I learned the Apostles' Creed. What'd I get? Got to watch my wife die.
I'm just now realizing how, like, fucking stupid and obvious the whole trope is of, like, I'm an atheist because I was religious before, but then something bad happened to me, and I blamed God for not like, oh yeah, every religious person is supposed to have the best life ever. Like, you weren't following that correctly. Like, not even they believe that, right? Like, what's fucking Job? Like, you weren't even paying attention, idiot. You're so stupid.
The way I see it, that makes your daughter a miracle.
Well, I gotta go check my miracle into the mental institution now. You'll excuse me.
I thought I was ready to give my life to the Lord, but I wasn't. All novitiates choose a new name before they enter the convent. I never told anyone what name I had chosen. Not a single living soul.
Again, this is just incredibly stale and recycled. It's not showing anything new. It's just doing all of the beats of every single possession, exorcism, horror type film. It's not adding anything new. It's just going through the motions and not doing anything particularly well. So he goes on Google and finds Ellen Burstyn from the first movie, and she says the word patriarchy.
My opinion? It's because I'm not a member of the damn patriarchy.
Hello? Yes?
Knock, knock. Who's there? Oh, it's just me. audibletrial.com/YMS. Do you like books? Well, it doesn't matter. You get to hear someone read you a book instead. Here's Werner Herzog reading his memoir.
Christopher Robin, Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, and Eeyore.
What a lovely voice. I get commission off of you signing up for a free trial. It is free money that would otherwise line the pockets of Jeff Bezos. I repeat, audibletrial.com/YMS. 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 She goes with them to help with the possession problem, and she walks in front of a mirror, and then the girl isn't there after she walks in front of her. Where'd she go? It's so scary. It's like a scare from The Strangers. It's like a scare that's not even really a scare, and it's not scary, and I don't know why horror movies do this and think it's scary. Like, oh, they're there, and then they're not. It's like fucking object permanence for fucking toddlers. So she goes upstairs by herself to try and convince the girl not to be possessed, but then she gets stabbed in the eyes. Seems like quite the major oops on her part, considering she was around in the first movie and knows that this would be a dangerous thing and that you can die, and that even actual priests or whatever, they don't always have the best of times dealing with this. It's a horror movie and there's bad things that can happen, but she seemed pretty confident about what she was doing and she goofed it. So now all of the priests are gathering together. They understand that it's very serious and it's kind of like an Avengers type thing going on. The tone of this scene is just absolutely bizarre.
We ask your support in approaching the bishop to sanction the exorcism.
Well, Father, we are here to support you. We want to be here for you in any circumstances.
This is a very dangerous situation.
They're all here and they're about to stop the the Satan. They're stopping Satan.
Please understand, I have prayed with her and observed her actions. When I rested my hand upon her head, I felt nothing but pain.
She had very spiky hair, so much dandruff. Some more time passes and they finally set up the exorcism thing. This is at about an hour and 20 minutes through the entire movie, and it continues to move at a snail's pace for no reason other than it thinks that it's doing something artful. It thinks that it's building tension. It thinks that it has any idea of what it's doing with tone. Oh no, she's reading the Bible, but they're not taking it seriously. This is some heavy demonic force at work. This is scary, everybody. This is a scary film. It's scary because it could happen in real life.
Forever and ever. Amen.
Feels like a bunch of LARPing. They're just LARPing.
Tonight you're going to die. You're all going to die.
Stop yours, woke moralists.
Terrible lip syncing, terrible dub. It doesn't feel like these characters are saying those words.
Tonight you're going to die. You're all going to die.
If, let's say, hypothetically, it was really, really scary that this little girl had a deep voice that sounded so satanic because it's a deep man voice, you'd think that they'd want to make it so that it actually feels like that's what's happening and it's not just a dub. You'd think that something that you gamble $400 million on, you'd want to make sure something like that happens. Like, oh, it's going to be scary because it sounds like she's saying those words. You might want to make it feel like that's what's happening. You might want to just properly lip sync or properly dub, just time it, spend a little bit of time in post, maybe do another take. It's not impossible. You can do it, David. I believe in you. You're a big kid now. Now, from this point on, I didn't really leave that many more notes, so I'm kind of just skimming through the movie chronologically to refresh myself on what happened, and it's about an hour and a half through the 2-hour-long film. If you were to ask me what takes up the final half hour of this film, I would tell you I have no fucking idea. I honestly don't remember. It is so boring. Nothing happens. Oh yeah, so because I'm skimming through this, I am now jogging my memory. They have to decide between the two girls, essentially. Their heartbeats have become one, and Satan or whoever has decided you have to make a choice, and if you can't choose between one of the girls living, then both of them die. And these girls are just so important because they were so well-developed and likable characters that we just love and care about, and we care so much about the parents and their stake and everything too, that we care about their love for their children. It was all properly expressed and properly communicated and not just nothing.
One girl lives, one girl dies.
Oh my god. The reaction shot of the dad after he's told that. There's a lot more faces of the dad. He is reacting in many ways that feel interchangeable throughout the entire film. You could probably throw all of the shots of him reacting through a randomizer, and it would probably be the exact same. It wouldn't make any difference. It never really feels like he's reacting to anything happening in the movie. He's just doing his own thing. One of the priests tries to use his Jesus powers on them, and it doesn't work. His head goes backwards, he's dead now. It's scary because it could really happen. This is why you should avoid Pokemon and trick-or-treating. It's demonic.
I choose you, Catherine!
Tony, no!
I choose Catherine! I choose you!
I don't even remember how any of this resolves itself. I'm kind of just watching this for a second time right now. Does one of them die? The fire looks bad. It is CG fire. It looks very bad. All right, I'm skimming through some more shit. Do both of them live? No, the white girl dies, I think. She, her soul went bye-bye. She deserved it, probably. And one girl's fine, and the movie ends with him dropping her off at school, and things are fine. She's okay. Ellen Burstyn is not as okay. Showing her blind at the end. And then another character comes to give her a hug. Someone from one of the other movies. I think she was the original girl that got possessed or something. I need to rewatch the original movie, honestly. And, yep, the whole movie was just an absolutely pointless experience. No point in watching it. I don't know what they're thinking trying to recreate the success of the original in 2023 with this tone or lack thereof, this attempt at that tone, I guess. Absolutely insane. I honestly wish this were a Sam Raimi joint, something that doesn't take itself as seriously, something that could be fun and scary, maybe comedic, at the very least creative and visually interesting. Shout out to Drag Me to Hell, by the way. Very fun movie. There's an exorcism scene in that movie, I guess.
You teased me, you black-hearted whore!
No, Milos, no!
You bitch!
What a great movie. We talked about it on our podcast, Sardonicast. You should all listen to that. Jenny Nicholson was on. It was fun. Anyway, do not watch The Exorcist Believer. There is zero reason for anyone to watch this movie ever at any point in time. It is absolutely pathetic. It is one of the most boringest movies ever made. David Gordon Green, maybe do something else with your time. Don't get so cocky thinking you can just revive any IP like that. Your Halloween Halloween movies were terrible also. I don't care if they made money. They were shit. Thank you. I'm giving this one a 2 out of 10. Very not fun. Very bad. Very doo-doo poopy. Uh-oh, stinky. There's something Ellen Burstyn out my pants. David Gordon Green, more like David Gordon, you're bad. I'm done. Goodbye.